Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. The United Nations has been making what they call climate agreements almost every year for the past 30 years. The stated goal of these conferences is to end the use of fossil fuels. Their position is that the burning of fossil fuels is causing carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere to increase, which is going to lead to a climate disaster. In 1989, the United Nations said we only had until the year 2000 to save the planet from global warming. But the planet is still here, and nothing the United Nations has done has slowed the growth of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. In fact, the annual rate of growth of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has more than doubled over the last 30 years. The United Nations hasn't done very well, so they've come up with an explanation. According to the United Nations, the reason they failed is because of people like me. They put out this report, Deny, Deceive, Delay, documenting and responding to climate disinformation at COP26 and beyond. This is what they had to say about me. He has previously described global warming as the biggest scientific fraud in history. They say I was suspended from Twitter for COVID-19 conspiracy theories. Actually, I was suspended for posting this Pfizer document about their vaccine trials. Under their old management, Twitter did not like factual information. They called it misinformation. Climate alarmists celebrated. They know that their agenda can't succeed without a lot of censorship. Fortunately, Twitter's new management under Elon Musk is much better. The United Nations said Heller has also pushed the debunked conspiracy theory that temperature records are being manipulated to justify climate action. He's been repeatedly fact-checked for such claims, including by Climate Feedback and PolitiFact, but remained a key influencer online during the Glasgow summit. Let's take a look at that claim. This is a U.S. temperature graph from NASA in 1999 taken from their website. It showed that the hottest year in the United States was 1934, and temperatures generally declined through the end of the 20th century. But NASA has erased the heat of 1934 and reversed this cooling trend in their more recent graphs. Now they show a warming trend through the end of the 20th century. Let's take a look at what was going on in the world during the record hot year of 1934. There was a worldwide heat wave and drought during 1934. The New York Times reported 500,000 starving in China's drought. Temperature in many places has stood between 115 and 120 for several weeks. The Los Angeles Times reported whole world in freak weather year of 1934. Cold, heat, drought, and flood set new marks. Unprecedented extremes recorded in every corner of the earth. John Steinbeck documented the heat and drought of the 1930s in his novel The Grapes of Wrath. He said that society has collectively lost its memory of the Earth's climatic past. For example, the worst flood in recorded history in the western United States occurred in the winter of 1861-1862. The disaster turned enormous regions of California into inland seas for months. California had 7 flood years between 1860 and 1890, and in between the flood years, they had droughts. 3 years earlier, in 1859, California experienced an unprecedented blast of heat. Downslope winds at Santa Barbara, California brought the temperature up to 133 degrees. Lots of animals died. The vegetable crop was ruined. The fruit trees are all burned. The pears and apples have been literally cooked. In Sacramento, the thermometer for 10 days rarely fell below 100 degrees and often reached 106. And this was associated with the largest solar storm on record, the Carrington event, which brought the northern lights all the way to the equator. Later that year, there was a massive storm off the coast of Wales, which destroyed 96 ships and left hundreds of others stranded. There was another remarkable heat wave during January 1790, which was George Washington's first month in office as president. In Philadelphia, the temperature often ran up to 70 degrees in the shade during January 1790. Boys were seen swimming in the rivers. From 1790 to 1796, the monsoon stopped happening in India, which killed more than 600,000 people in one region of India alone. Also around that time of the Revolutionary War, 8 of the 25 deadliest Atlantic hurricanes occurred. In 1790, no rain was said to have fallen around Sydney from June to November. All grass was dried up. In January and February 1791, after several months of excessive heat and hot winds, birds dropped dead from the trees. Everything burnt up, and Sydney almost ran out of water. It's believed that the droughts, floods, and crop failures around that time may have led to the French Revolution in 1789. But the United Nations does not like historical information because it doesn't support their scam to take over the world's energy supply. And I'm flattered that the reason they think they're failing is because of people like me. Toto has been pulling back the curtain on this scam for 15 years. You can visit him, Kyrie Caesar, Toki Upala, and the four new puppies on the web at realclimatescience.com.